What's up, guys? We're back again here. We've got the valve body out of the 6L80 transmission that we're working on, and out of the 2008 Silverado. Um, we had some problems: no gears, no reverse, no drive. In the earlier the video, I was talking about getting the valve body apart to check out the check balls, so that maybe we'll get lucky and one of them wore out and got stuck. If not, we're gonna end up having to pull the whole transmission out. So bear with me here. I'm only working with hand tools, but let's get the rest of this apart here. And what we're kind of almost hoping to see is that some of the check balls maybe got stuck in there, which would be kind of good news. But the amount of metal we saw in the pan, more than likely, it's going to need to come down for possibly a rebuild. So trying to get it apart right now. Let's see here. It's a series of 7, 8mm, and 10mm bolts. Be a lot faster with an electric impact gun, but obviously we don't have that right now, so we're having to make do with what we have. This is my first time ever separating one of these before, so bear with me here. I'm trying to keep the bolts fairly organized in the same type. There's different lengths, so when you put it back together, you definitely want to make sure the bolts are going in the right spot. What we're looking at right here is pretty much the built-in computer in these that has all the solenoids. That puppy right there is pretty much your main control unit. So those solenoids open and close to let the fluid go through the passages and give you pressure when you need it, and none when you don't. So I watched a couple other tutorials and did a little bit of reading online, you know, before tackling this, and just kind of freshen myself up. You know, I wouldn't recommend for anyone to try to rebuild their own transmission, depending on what your mechanical skill level is, but I'm already a pretty competent engine builder, so I'm trying to save some money here. So I think I can should be able to fix my own transmission without too much trouble. Definitely gonna have to get some few more better tools. I already had to buy some star drive to get the valve body off, so it wasn't a big deal. I had to buy a couple sockets and then, oops. Okay, bear with me here, guys. It's kind of slow with no power tools, but we're about to pull the computer and solenoids off in here in just a minute. Oops. Get a 10mm. I pretty much already had them kind of pre-loosened up before we started this third segment of the video here. So this one's a little different than some valve bodies. Some valve bodies you can unbolt them while they're in the transmission, just separate the plates, but this one's sandwiched together from the top and bottom, so you actually have to pull the whole valve body out of the transmission in order to get it apart. But it almost kind of makes it easier, because then you can work on it on the bench at your own leisure. Okay, we're getting there, guys. Just bear with me. It's a lot of bolts. I think the computer and solenoid part might be almost ready to come off. Two more holding it from the side, it looks like. I watched the video like once of a professional transmission builder taking this valve body apart, so you know, if it's your first time doing something, it can be figured out. You can just take your time and follow the steps along the way, and with as much information's out there online these days, I mean, you can really find, if you have, you know, some tools and some mechanical ability, you can really do some miraculous stuff on your own, you know. I'm used to some pretty technical stuff because I've built a lot of high-performance engines. I build like LS motors and a lot of different stuff like that. So I'm kind of used to getting a little technical. Okay, there it is, guys. All right. So this is like the brain of our operation here. You can see the metal shavings up in there. Wow, that's not good. That is not good, folks. Everything looks intact, though. What you're looking for here is to see if any of those seals have been compromised or those screens blown out, and it all looks in pretty good shape. So hopefully our computer or our brain and solenoids should be good there. It looks pretty good there. So let's set this aside right now. I don't have much room. If I'm gonna have to go and use my buddy's shop if I end up having to take the transmission out. So we're having to make do here. So okay, so let's get this thing split apart and see what we got going on. I have a feeling we're probably gonna end up having to rebuild this thing. Let's see here. Bear with me, guys. I get my wrench out of the well here. Oops, so that's a 10mm. Yeah, I'm just using a little table in the backyard right now, so that, you know, and that's another thing I'm going to get into, is that to really build these suckers correctly, you got to have a real nice clean bench where you can clean all your parts really good. So we're just doing a little preliminary check over to try to eliminate the simple stuff, and if there's no problems with these check balls, we're going to proceed to towing the truck down to a shop, because it's still sitting on the side of the side road down there. Unfortunately, we're going to tow it to my buddy's shop, and I'm going to pull the transmission out if it comes down to that, which is at this point there's a pretty good chance it's gonna, unfortunately. Okay, that doesn't even go all the way through, but that's right, we'll keep that right there. Okay, let's flip her back over, guys. These are all loosened up previously, so all this stuff's gonna have to be cleaned really, really good too, because of the fact of the aluminum shavings in there. Again, this is a million times faster with a little miniature impact, electric impact, but bear with me here for a minute, guys, and we'll get this puppy apart. I was gonna fast forward to just when I almost had it apart, but I wanted you guys to at least get a chance to see what it takes to get one of these puppies apart. And again, this is my first time doing it. And it's our main truck, so we gotta have that thing back together, and we gotta save some money doing it. So $1,500 to $2,000 isn't an option right now, and so maybe somebody else out there, if you're into buying this, will inspire you to maybe to fix yours if you got some tools and at least some abilities. And what you don't know, you can always learn along the way. Sorry I'm not doing like a step-by-step complete detailed rebuild, but again, I'm not a transmission expert. I did build my own T56 6-speed for my Camaro and GTO because that was just getting ridiculously expensive to have done, and it turns out when I rebuilt it, it turned out way better than like when I was paying like supposed professionals to do it. It was all jacked up. Built it myself, turned out to be the best 6-speed I ever had. So, but this is, well, there was one other time I rebuilt automatic transmission with out of one of my Mustangs, but I did it like alongside a professional that like I knew the guys and stuff, so we kind of did it together. So if we end up having to rebuild this whole one, this will be my first automatic transmission that like all on my own. Again, not that I couldn't do it, just because it's just not my specialty, you know. And it's a little bit of a pain in the booty, but you gotta do what you gotta do. So, I mean, to try to buy one of these transmissions new, a 6L80E, they're expensive. Even a rebuilt one's like $2,200 or something crazy like that. So, for some people that might not be a lot, but for me that's a lot of dough. So, okay, we're almost there. Hang in there, everybody. Sorry, these gloves are all jacked up, but it's better than destroying my hands on this right now. Okay, we're almost there. As far as I can tell and know, it should be almost ready to split apart, and then okay, it's probably going to need some priming action, I'm assuming. Okay. One check will already come out right there. Okay. Well, guys, none of the check balls are stuck in the separator plate. And I'm not gonna lie, part of me did want to see that as being the case, hoping maybe that if one was stuck in there that it'd be an easy fix, but that doesn't look like the case, folks. As you see, a couple of the check balls moved around. I separated, but they're gonna have to be put back in their correct home to put it back together, and that's a whole nother diagram of where to put your check balls back. As you can see, they kind of have little spots where they go in the separator plate, and there is another video online, if you look around on them, the 6L80 rebuild stuff that shows exactly where these check balls goes and how to handle that. I'm not going to get into all that right now. This is just my first part of the teardown, and being it mostly none of the check balls were stuck in the separator plate, and so I'm going to go ahead and assume that because my transmission has no forward and reverse gears, pretty good chance I'm probably going to have to pull it out and rebuild it, and I'll get into it on this next section. Please stay tuned. I have a feeling early on that I may have a cracked upper drum. There's a piston in there, and that drum cracks where it's the 3.5 reverse drum and has a bunch of clutch packs and stuff in there. More than likely, that's probably what's wrong with my transmission. And so what I'm going to do is I'll get back with you guys on a part 2. Please stay tuned. Please be patient. I'm trying to get all this back together in like a week. I can't afford to be down on my truck. The biggest thing is just going to be waiting for parts. So it looks like we're going to get into a pretty much a full rebuild scenario. So stay tuned, and I'll post another video when I take apart the rest of the transmission. Thanks for watching. Bye.